Welcome to JT Talks Jobs. This is the live that I do 3 times a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, to help you solve all your job search and career development problems. I'm a 20-year career coaching veteran. I used to work in the staffing and recruiting industry, so I bring to you all the knowledge and experience of what's really happening on the other side. I'm an advocate for you. I'm here to help you. I'm in your court, right? Companies have big teams. They have boards of directors. I'm on your board of directors. I'm your advisor to make sure that you're doing the right things, you're saying the right things, and you're getting the results that you want and deserve. There are 3 things that we want everybody at Work It Daily, the company that I founded over 2 decades ago, to know. And that is that you should feel seen, you should feel heard, and you should feel understood. And if you're not feeling seen, heard, and understood in your career right now, then we need to fix that. And that's what I'm here to do. So I'm very excited to have you here. If you do have questions, please pop them in the chat. I will do my very best to answer as many of them as I can for you over the next 45 minutes or so. If you would like every question you've ever needed answered in your career, if you would like to be seen, heard, understood on a one-on-one basis, then I want you to head over to Work It Daily. That's where I offer you a 7-day free trial to come try my career coaching platform my team and I have built to help individuals like you get the results you want and deserve. You should earn more, you should stress less, and you should like your job. And if you don't have those 3 things, earning more, stressing less, liking your job, then there's something we can do about that. But it starts with getting a career coach. It starts with getting the right people advising you to take the right steps of action. And so when you're ready for that, when you're ready to invest in yourself because you believe in yourself, because that's the truth, folks. We only invest in ourselves when we believe in ourselves. And when you're ready to do that, I'm going to let you invest just your time. 7 days for free. Come spend a whole week with me. Come to all my live sessions and see what the power of a career coaching platform like Work It Daily can really do to catapult your career. So I hope you will check us out. In the meantime, I'm going to be looking for your questions here in the chat. First come, first serve. If you have a question, let me know. Of course, thank you in advance for the likes, the shares, the follows. All of that helps us reach our goal at Work It Daily to help millions of people get somewhere in their career that they can't get on their own, right? We use doctors, dentists, lawyers, accountants, all sorts of people to help us get results we can't get on our own. Why aren't you using a career coach? Why aren't you using people who understand what's happening on the other side so that you can have a competitive advantage? That's what you got to ask yourself. And are you worth it? Of course you're worth it, especially when all it takes is investing your time right now. Investing in yourself, believing in yourself just takes you saying, yeah, I'll give that 7-day free trial over at Work It Daily a try. I'll go work with JT and her team of experts. Why not? Let's go see what it can do for me. All right. Awesome. Okay. So let's take some questions. I'm going to start out here on TikTok first. Let me get the TikTok questions going. Shout out to everybody that's joining over there. Good to have you here. Do you have career coaching for 19 and 20-year-olds? Oh my gosh, that's a great question. So first of all, the fact that you're 19 and 20 and asking this, oh, I'm so proud of you. So proud of you right now because you get it. See, coaching isn't a sign of weakness. Coaching is the path to greatness. In fact, your generation was raised on coaching. So you know that you need career coaching right now. And the sooner you start, the better off you're going to be. So the answer to that question is a big fat yes. We work with people that are 19, 20 years old all the time because they have no bad habits. They have their whole career ahead of them, which can feel a little intimidating, right? There's like so much choice, so many options. What do you do? Well, we're going to help you narrow in the choice, narrow in the options. We're going to help you figure out what your strengths are. We're going to help you figure out what kind of work you'd actually enjoy. And then we're going to help you get on a game plan to landing that first job and really understanding what's going on so you can beat out the competition. So first of all, the fact that you asked this as a 19 or 20-year-old already tells me you're steps ahead. And secondly, the good news is yes. And then there's a bonus piece of good news, which is you can go over and try it risk-free. Go over for 7 days, get in the program, grab our standard membership, and just see what we can do for you. Dive into the videos. Everything is video-based. Anything you want to learn in our platform is a search away and video-based. And we offer you this amazing structure. We say, get started here, do this, do that. We're going to take all the guesswork out of it for you, which as a younger individual who's just starting out in their career, that's something you really need is that structure. So I encourage you to check it out because we love helping our 19 and 20-year-olds over at Work It Daily. Let's see. Melissa, shout out to Melissa May. Okay. Is job hunting before holidays a good idea or after the holidays? All right, let's get into job hunting in the holidays. Folks, I do not want you to sleep on this. If you are looking for work right now, you're wondering, should I even bother? It's the holiday season. The answer is yes, but probably not for the reasons you think. So let's break it down, okay? Is there a slowdown of hiring in the holiday season? Yes. Does it stop completely? No. All right. Is hiring taking longer? Yes. Does that mean you should start your job search now, because in order to get a job after the holidays, you got to start now? Yes. See what I mean? There's a lot of things people don't think about here. Also, as the holidays come up, sometimes the workload slows down, so they have more time to what? Network, interview, connect with you. So you're going to see a lot more interviews happening during the holidays, maybe not necessarily giving you the job, but if you're in the mix right now, you're going to land that job in January that a lot of other people don't even have a shot at. More importantly, studies show right now the average job search from the moment you get the job interview, right? Like you see the job posted and you get a job interview to you actually getting hired. So that hiring cycle is taking about 13 weeks. That's over 3 months. So if we start right now, at the time I'm recording this, even if you're in the interview hiring cycle, you're going to see that job somewhere in January, maybe a bit sooner. So you don't want to sleep on this time. You actually want to use this time to connect. Plus, another great reason to look for jobs during the holidays is the good mood everybody's in, spreading the holiday cheer, reconnecting with people, right? Awesome opportunity to get out there, to network, to connect, and ultimately look for jobs. So please do not take your foot off the gas pedal during the holidays. All you're doing is putting yourself at a competitive disadvantage. And by that, I mean, there's going to be tons and tons of people who go, I don't feel like looking till after the holidays. And then they decide in January to look, along with the other millions of people looking. And you've just made the whole process harder for you. And you've probably missed out on some really awesome jobs. So no, do not take time off. Be strategic. Get out there. Leverage this time. Let's see. Awesome. Love it. Love it. Welcome, everyone. This is my live where I answer your questions, everything related to job search and career development. I go live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays during the week. This is your chance to hear from a 20-year career coaching veteran and a former staffing and recruiting executive, because I'm going to tell you exactly what's going on out there. In fact, I spent last week, all week at LinkedIn Talent Connect. This is LinkedIn's largest event for the executives that make all the talent and hiring decisions. These are the people that all the HR folks and the recruiters report into. And I was with them last week. And let me tell you, there were a couple of pretty important themes. One, they're really sick and tired of fake resumes. They can't wait for the death of the resume. AI and people creating fake resumes is at an all-time high. It's creating a lot of stress for them. They're also really sick of getting 1,000 to 10,000 applicants per job. They've stopped posting jobs altogether, and instead they're using alternative methods for finding the right talent because they cannot handle the sheer volume of applications they're getting, many of which are fake, right? Like I said, the whole resumes and the AI and the fake there. They are super frustrated by that. But there's a third thing that I want you to think about, which is they are really having a hard time when they do reject candidates because they can't hire everyone, right? They post one job and thousands of people apply, okay? And then maybe hundreds get to phone screen, and maybe 10 get to interview, and maybe 5 get it to the final round of interview, and then only 1 can be picked. You go into these knowing that, folks. You need to go into hiring knowing you're not the only one. And yet it is amazing how many people in this market are getting super angry with employers saying, you know, I spent 5 interviews with you and you didn't give me feedback. I'd never work for you. Folks, there were plenty of other people in that hiring process going through the same thing you were. Should they try to communicate with you? Yes. Do all of them do? No. But please be careful. When you start venting at them, sending them nasty notes, demanding them give you feedback, you've just made sure that you will never be hired by that company. And that's a shame, because if you landed an interview and you even worked through that interview process, that was a relationship that you could have nurtured, because maybe they couldn't hire you today because there was only one job and there was someone that was a little bit better match, but they never said they weren't going to hire you tomorrow. They never said that they wouldn't consider you for that next job that comes up that they won't ever post, but because they liked you so much in the interview, they want to consider you. That won't happen for you if you go and get nasty because you didn't get picked for a job. Now, I know none of my followers would do that, but I am just friendly reminding you, because I know you're frustrated out there and I know you want to take that frustration and that anger out on someone, but you're not doing it to a company that you built a relationship with, that you have the potential to get hired by at a later date. Do not blow that relationship. Play the long game, okay? Remember, it's not their fault that they can't hire 10 of you. They can only hire 1 of you on any given day, and you were still a great candidate. It was just a no, not today. So don't blow the relationship, nurture the relationship, okay? Awesome. Yeah, awesome. How do you nurture a relationship with somebody you interviewed with? Ooh, I love this question. Okay, so if you go on an interview and met somebody you really liked, and maybe you don't move forward in the process, after that hiring process is over, is the perfect time for you to reach out to them on LinkedIn. And what you want to do is say, "Can we connect? I really enjoyed meeting you in the XYZ interview. I have something I'd love to share with you as a thank you." Think about that. All right. Can we connect? I enjoyed meeting you. I would love to share something as a thank you. So now they're like, okay, what's the thank you? Now, what I want you to do is go find like an article or a video, something about the industry or something that you discussed in the interview with them that you think that if you were their actual colleague, they would find interesting. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know how when we see something in the news, we're like, oh, I want to send that to people that I know would find it interesting. That's what I want you to do with these people that you met on the interview. And all I want you to do is message them and say, hey, thanks for connecting. I so enjoyed when we talked about X in the interview. I know I didn't get the job, but I'd still love to stay in touch. P.S. I saw this article. It made me think of our conversation. Here you go. All right. So what you're doing is providing some value. It didn't cost you anything other than your time, but that's how you start to treat them like a peer, where you're having conversations. And that nicely and politely reminds them of like, oh, yeah, we did have that conversation in the interview. And oh, yeah, we did talk about that. How nice was it of them to send me this info? That's really cool. Now you've opened up the lines of communication. Now what you do is like every 6 weeks or so, find another article or video. And when you think of them, mark your calendar, go back and say, I know it's been a while, but this came across my desk, thought you'd enjoy it. What do you think? Ask them a question back. Do you agree with this? What's your opinion on it? Almost like you were having a conversation. This is how you just start to have this wonderful relationship with these people. Now, if you're going to say to me right now, oh, yeah, but that takes time, JT, and I've got to remember to do this. How badly do you want a job with them, folks? This is a job that's potentially worth thousands of dollars to you that would make you stress less, earn more, and like your work. Put a little skin in the game. Make a little Google Calendar reminder and then remind yourself on the day to, oh, I wanted to network with that person. Let me go find something interesting to send them and start the conversation. It's worth it to do this. That is so easy to do. There was a time when we didn't even have a tool like LinkedIn to be able to do this. And now you have a way to very easily stay in touch with people that you met at the companies you ultimately want to work for. And let me tell you how this pays off. Now it's a few months later. They're having a conversation. They need somebody for a certain job. This person remembers you. Hey, remember that person we interviewed? He sent me a couple of really cool articles. Maybe he'd be up for the job. Let me reach out and see what he thinks. See what's happening there? You got to nurture the relationship. That's all you need to do in that. And I'm telling you, it is worth it. You do this to the companies you want to work for. Don't do it for everyone. You don't have to do it for everyone you interview with. Do it with the people that you enjoy talking to. And you're like, I could see them being a coworker someday. I would like them to be my coworker someday. So I'm going to nurture this relationship with them so they'll keep me top of mind. So maybe they'll think of me as a coworker. Or even if a couple months later they post a job and you're like, oh, I really want that job. Well, now you're not messaging that person out of the blue. You've been messaging them and creating some value and sending them some info and saying, now you message them and go, hey, you know what? I just saw you guys posted this job. Do you have any tips? I really would love a shot at this job. What would be your advice? You're not asking them for the job, but they have become, a connection for you who could probably offer you some tips. And they might go, oh, didn't know you were interested. Let me tell the hiring manager. Because you're not a stranger to them anymore. You've actually nurtured that relationship. That's what you need to do, folks. It really does work. And you don't do it for everyone. You just do it with the people and the companies you most want to work for, right? These are the techniques that really smart people use to earn more, stress less, and love their work. And that's what I'm going to teach you every single time. It's going to take a little work, but oh my goodness, is it worth it, right? It's totally, totally worth it. Awesome. Okay, let's take some more questions here. What are some of the alternate methods for finding candidates other than posting jobs? Oh, that's such an interesting question, Beth. Let's see. All right. So a lot of companies have stopped posting jobs, but they are still finding candidates. And let me tell you the number one method that they are using right now, based on all of the people that I talked to at one of the largest staffing conferences of elite level staffing managers last week, right? All of these people are running the talent shows at some of the biggest companies in the world. And what they were telling me is that they go to their people in the department where they need that candidate. Okay, so if they're looking for somebody in customer success, they go to customer success. If they're looking for somebody for finance, they go to finance. And they say, here's the deal. This is the kind of person we need. We need somebody like Jim, who's on staff. We need somebody like Maria. If somebody reaches out to you proactively and you look at them and they look like a Jim or a Maria, we want you to forward them to us, especially if they reach out to you and they strike up a conversation or they network with you. So what happens now is those people, if someone messages them, they go, okay, let me forward you on. That is happening a lot right now. And so when we talk about the hidden market, we talk about that number one method for back channeling into jobs that aren't posted anywhere. But these people, these teammates are being put on alert saying, look, if someone goes the extra step, if someone puts skin in the game, as they say, really goes the extra mile to try to reach out and connect with you, not with HR, not with recruiting, but with you, the people that work in the department, seeking your advice and your thoughts on what it takes to get hired there, and they look like a fit, pass them along. That is happening every single day, folks. And so you've got to have a bucket list. Do y'all know what a bucket list is? That's a list of 20 companies you would absolutely love to work for that hire for your skill set. You need to have the back channeling strategy, the way that you're going to reach out to those individuals in those departments in order to get them to accept your connection request and start a conversation with you. These are the techniques that are working right now. And you don't do these all day long. The beautiful part about this strategy is that you can do it in as little as 15 minutes a day. We work with a lot of people at Work It Daily that have full-time jobs and they're looking for a new job. The last thing they feel like doing is coming home and spending 3 hours a night on a job search. They don't have time for that. They don't have time for that. So we had to build a program at Work It Daily that you could do in 15 minutes a day. That's why we're called Work It Daily and why we're not called Work It All Day. Work It Daily is about 15 minutes a day, coming in, watching a video, doing the thing. And then all of a sudden, you've got the strategy, tools, and tactics for your job search all set up so that you're just doing a little bit each day in order to connect and make things happen. This is how it works, folks. This is what. Think of it this way. Like, let's say you're wanting to get more fit, okay? Going into the gym and spending 8 hours so that you can't move the next day, it doesn't work, right? The actual way that most people are super successful at getting fit is they do a little bit each day. And each day they get stronger and smarter and more efficient, and their muscles have memory. And all of a sudden they're doing hard things in a matter of no time. Job search is the exact same way. And that's why we limit you and say, do just a little bit, watch just this one little video today, do this one little activity today, and build upon that in order to get the results that you're looking for. All right. Let's see. It's been over a week since your interview and you haven't heard any updates. What would you say in the follow-up? Oh, I love this. Okay. So first of all, folks, anytime you go on a job interview, please don't leave the interview without asking them what are the next steps in the process and what is the best way for me to stay in touch. It is your responsibility to stay in touch. Let me say that again. You might go, but wait a minute, they're hiring, they should update me. It is your responsibility. You are marketing your services. You want to be paid thousands of dollars a year, sits on you. And you want to be mindful and respectful of how to do that. So you, of course, ask. You never leave a job interview without saying, can you tell me the next steps in the process and what is the best way for me to stay in contact with you regarding the process, right? You've got to ask that and they will tell you. They'll say, well, we're interviewing other people. It'll be about a week, whatever. Okay. Let's say whatever they told you comes and goes. It's been a week. You haven't heard anything. They said they were going to tell you on Wednesday. It's now Friday. What do you do? It is perfectly okay to be proactive and message them, but you need to keep it short. This is not you pitching yourselves. This is not you writing an epic novel trying to market how great you are. This is you checking in. And we're going to be really careful of our verbiage. This is a big thing we do at Work It Daily. I mean, we haven't, all our video tutorials don't just tell you how to do something, like we give you the verbiage so that you can utilize it. Because if you say the wrong thing, it can come across wrong. Let me give you an example. A lot of people will message and they'll go, I'm just checking in to see where we're at with this. That phrase, I'm just checking in, is passive aggressive for you didn't do your job to update me, so now I have to do it. There are studies that prove this. It's not me making it up, okay? Go look it up. So instead, you are going to say, I wanted to be proactive. I wanted to see if there was anything else I could offer to further my candidacy. I would love the opportunity to move forward. Sincerely, blank. All right? That's all you're saying. I wanted to be proactive, or I wanted to see if there was anything else I could offer to further my candidacy. It's one sentence, right? Now, if you want a little bonus, and this is a tip that I teach my Work It Daily members, you can add a PS. I don't know if you know this, but anything with a PS seems to get read more for some reason. So you would write that one little sentence and then you would write a PS. And now You go find a video, you go find an article, you go find something on the internet that's really relevant to what you talked about in the interview. And you say to them, I saw this article, I saw this video, and it made me think of our conversation. I thought you'd enjoy it too. That's it. And you insert the video or the article. What that does is send a little value, right? I'm asking you for an update. I'm saying, hey, is there anything else I can do to further my candidacy? Which is a very polite way of seeing where we're at without, being too blunt. But I'm also adding a little value saying, and I came across this thing, and based on our conversation and then the interview, I thought you'd find it interesting. You're treating them like a colleague, you're adding value. This is a great way to follow up. And that little PS and that little value add, again, showing skin in the game, showing you going the extra mile, showing you thinking and acting like a true colleague. These are the kinds of things that are really going to set you apart. Awesome. Okay. So let's see. Had a final interview and presentation today, said 2 weeks, and to share updates. What should I send? That's really funny. So anytime a company says 2 weeks and share updates, what they're saying is if something happens in your interview process, maybe you've been offered another job, it is okay to update them. They would like to know. So they're saying you're in the running. You're definitely in the running, but we're not going to have a decision for a couple of weeks. But, if something comes up, let me know. If there's nothing to report, you do nothing. You don't just send random updates. All I would say is set it and forget it right now. Don't job crush, right? They know where you are. They will come back to you within 2 weeks. If something happens, though, where you do get a actual real offer, then it would be okay to message them. Other than that, you're doing nothing. Now, if the 2 weeks come and go, then it would be okay to check in, and you would use the techniques that I just shared earlier on this live. But other than that, I'm more worried about you job crushing right now, folks. Job crushing is the worst thing that you can do. And you know what I'm talking about. You get into an interview, you're really thinking this is the job. You don't like job search because it's hard. So you're like, I don't want to start any job searching until I find out where this job is. Don't do that, folks. Remember, only one person's getting hired, and it's not a guarantee that it's you. So if you sit around and job crush and don't get that job, you are going to knock your ego down, and it's going to make looking for work even harder. My advice, if there's a job you really like and you're in the running, double down. Play the field. Get more companies in the mix. Keep yourself busy. No job crushing. Job crushing is not a good thing to do, especially in this market where there's just a lot of competition and there's more of a chance that you won't get the job than you will. I'm just being brutally honest. So you got to play the numbers. You got to get more job interviews in the pipeline, more offers in the pipeline to ultimately land one right now. Let's see. Can't see. Oh, interesting. I just accepted a job without countering. Do you think that's okay? Oh my goodness, folks. Can we talk about salary negotiation for a minute here and some of the really bad advice that I'm hearing other people give? This idea that anytime you get an offer, you should counter is a bunch of baloney. No, we're not doing that every time. It depends on the circumstances of this role. And let me give you some scenarios. Some companies right now are being very transparent about what they can offer. They're posting the range in the job interview. They're asking you in the interview process, are you okay with accepting that range? They're very clear in what they can afford and what their budget is. If they give you something in that range or on the high end of the range, you don't need to negotiate. In fact, you are now disrespecting the transparency that they offered you, okay? The only time that I think it really makes sense to counter is when there was a very clear range. They offered you on the low side, and you truly believe you deserve the higher side and can prove it. If you can, then I'm going to show you a very easy way to do that. It's called a job matching matrix. It is a document that we built inside Work It Daily that all of our members have access to. If you want access to it, go grab a 7-day free trial, type in job matching matrix, grab the tool. Okay, go over to Work It Daily, do that. But what it does is say, here's the job description. Okay, so now I've been through it. The range was 65 to 85. They offered you 70. You think you're worth the 85. Okay, you need to prove it. It's on you to prove it. So you create this job matching matrix. You list out all the requirements for the job that they listed, plus any additional that came up in the interview. You list why those are all important so that you can say, I understand the benefit of hiring somebody with all these things. And then you match your experience to that. You say, here's my experience that matches, and you highlight any place where you have more experience than what was asked for. Now you have an actual physical document that can be sent. And what you do is you go to them and say, can we have a quick conversation? You send them the document and you say, I am so excited to work for you. That's why this conversation is hard, but I need to have it. I appreciate you offered me 65 or 70, sorry, but here's why I believe that I deserve the 85. Attached is the job matching matrix. I not only meet all of the qualifications and understand why you need them, but I also exceed you in several places. I really believe that if you give me the 85, I will completely exceed your expectations, and it would mean a lot to me if you would offer me that range, that rate. That's it. You give them the evidence, you talk them through the evidence, you ask for the number. And then they say, well, we need to check with somebody and get back to you. And they're going to come back and say, I'm sorry, we don't think you're worth it. We're going to have to stick to that number. And then you're going to have to decide if you want to take it or not. And I have an answer to that. They're going to come back and say, yeah, we'll give you more money. Or they may come back and say, you know what? We want to see how you do in the first 90 days. And if you do well, we'll give you that. Okay. So there are things that they'll come back with. And then you just go from there. For example, if they say no, then you could say, that's okay. I still want the job, but walk me through what it's going to take to get there. How far away am I from making that money? What can we put in place that when I accept this job, when I meet all these certain criteria, you will give me that number? You can have these conversations with them. That is totally open. So negotiating happens when we know that there's an ability to negotiate and we have the evidence to support it. But if a company is very clear with you about the ranges, you can't go in there and just demand more money outside the range because you want it, right? And you don't just counter. If you really like what they offered you and it's fair, you don't have to counter. You don't. You can get in there and say, I'm so excited to be here and I really want to get on a track to make more money. Can we build that game plan together? That's a great thing to do. But I don't feel that everybody right now has to absolutely counter just because. So instead, congratulations, good job. And now once you get in there and you celebrate you got this great job, you build the game plan for earning more and you collaborate with your boss on making that happen. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. Really proud of you. Oh, and it's an entry-level position, Rudy. I'm so proud of you. Congratulations. That's amazing. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to stop here and just say shout out to everybody that's live. I am live on LinkedIn, TikTok, and YouTube right now. I'm going to be going live every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This is JT Talks Jobs. This is the show where I answer your questions in real time. Don't be shy. If you've got a question, post it. I will do my very best to answer it here for you. Awesome. And just as a reminder for those of you, I have got so many free resources linked in my bio. The link is either in my bio, down below. So many free resources for job seekers. If you're looking for something specific, I'm sure I've probably got it listed in there. And if you are looking for actual one-on-one help, if you like what I'm doing here and you wish you had a career coach like me and my trained team of experts working with you every step of the way, that is what Work It Daily is. It is a place where you can go and get all of your answers and be supported and get the results that you're looking for. And one of the things that we always tell you is that when you're ready to invest in yourself, we know it means you believe in yourself. So if you believe in yourself and your ability to earn more and stress less and like your work, then it's time to invest in yourself. And so what we do is we make the only investment or the first investment time. We give you a 7-day free trial. You don't pay for the first 7 days and you can cancel at any time. What we're asking for is 15 minutes a day over those 7 days to come into the program, watch a video, listen and learn, and see the power of this, right? And there's a reason that 70% of the people that try us stay with us and another 15% of them come back later on and rejoin. And it's because it works so well. So again, all I'm looking for you to do today is invest your time and give me a time commitment of 15 minutes a day to work with you. Okay, awesome. Is there a timeline when it's no longer appropriate to use the welcome wagon technique? Oh, I love that question. Okay, first of all, what is the welcome wagon technique and when should you be using it? The welcome wagon technique is when you are leveraging the power of relocating to another place and you want a job there. Many of us will often need a job before we can move, but very few companies are paying relocation anymore. So the welcome wagon technique is you reaching out and saying, I am moving to your area by X date. And you pick a date, maybe 6 months out. That date can be moved at any time. We're just letting them know I am moving there regardless, because what we're taking off the table is this idea of the only way I can move is I have a job, because they're not going to want to be the reason you move. No company wants you moving only to hate the job and leave them. So you have to say to them, no matter what, I am moving there in 6 months. So I'm starting my job search now, and I'm trying to understand what companies like you are looking for in terms of candidates. Why do you do this? Because companies, and specifically people within companies, love to be the welcome wagon. We all love to be the welcome wagon. And that is, we want to be nice to somebody new moving to our area, right? That is the nice neighborly thing to do. So we leverage that. We go and we meet people in the department that we would want to work in. And we meet the recruiters and the HR people and say, I'm moving to your area in 6 months. Your company is at the top of my bucket list. Could you tell me what you'd be looking for in a candidate? Now they get all excited. They're like, oh, somebody new. Let me go check out their profile. Or, oh, hey, they might fit what we're looking for. And they might say, well, actually, we're hiring for this right now. You could say, well, that's great. I could move there sooner. Would it be okay to interview for that job? Right? Or they might say, hey, we're going to be hiring about 3 to 4 months. Message us back. Let us know when you get here. You're just going to be amazed at how many people love to be the welcome wagon. And so it's an awesome back channeling technique for those of you that are looking to relocate to another area. If you want step-by-step how to do that and be coached on it, it's a big part of what we do over at Work It Daily. Head on over, grab a 7-day free trial, grab a membership, and we'll coach you through it. All righty. What other questions do we have here today? Love it. Can you help older candidates? I'm 58 and quite frankly tired of reading that I'm pretty much non-useful. Any advice? Oh my gosh, you're setting me on fire right now. 58 is not old. I'm 56. Stop that. 58 is not old. 58 is very, very useful and valuable to the marketplace. This upsets me so much because there are a lot of people out there who are donning their career coaching caps that have no business being career coaches, and they're shaming you and guilting you into thinking that everything's over. That is a bunch of baloney. I have people in their 50s and even in their 60s getting jobs every single day and Work It Daily, right? Does age discrimination exist? Yes, but not to the extent that everybody talks about it. I'll be honest. You know what really exists? Experience discrimination. I can't change your age, but I can change how you present yourself. And what a lot of people that are more senior do is present themselves incorrectly. They overdo it. And as a result, they come across a certain way. And so they end up being not really hireable because people are worried about bringing them into the workplace. So a big part of the coaching that I do with people over the age of 40 is changing how they present themselves. I'm not saying you're dumbing yourself down. I'm saying that you have to be aware that there's a wisdom tax. Let's think about the wisdom tax for a minute that most people don't understand. Think about any movie you were in where there was the sage, the wise person, Yoda. Okay? Think about that. When we get older, we are expected to be more wise. And so when we're more wise, the way that we mentor people, coach people, talk to people, connect with people shift. And the people that we trust the most are the ones that listen with 2 ears twice as much than they talk. And so the problem that I see with a lot of people more senior is they go in and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm not 20 something anymore. I have all this experience. I am the Jack or Jill of all trades. I'm going to show them everything I can do. I'm going to be so confident. I'm going to show them why I can do this. I can do that. I've got this, right? And you're pumped. So you go in and you do that. You did not come across as wise. You did not come across as sage. You came across as a know-it-all that looked either narcissistic or desperate. And are you either of those things? No. But it was just a natural reaction that you had because back when you used to interview and you didn't have that experience, you were so insecure, you had nothing to talk about. Now you have all this good stuff to talk about, you go in. So I just can't tell you how many times I've had people in their 50s go, I nailed the interview. And then they told me I was overqualified. They're just intimidated by me. Nope, that's not what it was. You landed wrong. You didn't understand that there's a wisdom tax in the way that you have to present yourself. You have to pull it back, right? And you have to be careful with your language. Let me give you a beautiful example of this. So if you go in and they say, how would you handle this? Like, here's a scenario. How would you handle this? And you approach it with, oh my gosh, I've done this like 10 times before. These are the 5 things you have to do. Let me tell you why. And this is exactly how I do it. No, that is very overwhelming. You're coming across like a bull in a china shop, very overbearing, not somebody I want on my team. Okay. If instead you say, oh my gosh, that's a great question. So I've done that before. I'm going to share a scenario that I think is similar to what you're experiencing. But when I'm done explaining to it, I really want you to tell me, does that seem on point or do you think it would be different for your organization? So now you explain the scenario and you say, what do you think? Do you see how I shared it, but I was collaborative? I solicited their ideas and their feedbacks. I didn't say I was a know-it-all. I didn't say that I understood everything. That kind of tweaking has to come across. This is where so many people in their 40s and 50s and 60s blow it and they don't even know it. So you are absolutely hireable. You just need some coaching. You need some specific coaching on how you're going to present your brand. And I promise you, they're going to see how amazing you are. And then you're going to go and provide all this incredible value to that employer. but you got to brand yourself right. And that changes over time. If during the interview process, you're asked to share your minimum salary needs for a position that doesn't list a range, what advice do you have to avoid undervaluing yourself? Okay, I love this question. All right. Let's say you go into an interview and they didn't post a range and they're not offering you a range and they're saying, what is the minimum you're looking to make? Every single person here now should be walking into any interview where you don't know what the salary is with a range of yourself, not a single number, a range. It is your walkaway rate, the least amount of money you could accept without having to look for another better paying job, and your ideal, what you'd ultimately like to make. And that could be a pretty big range. I've seen people with very large ranges. So when they say, what's the minimum you're looking to make? You say, that's a great question. Here's my range. This is my walkaway rate. This is the least amount of money I could accept without having to worry about looking for another job. And this is my ideal. This is what I ultimately want to make. Does that fall within your range? Okay. Now you've given a nice big range and they will tell you. And they might say, no, gosh, our highest is below your minimum. And you'll say, okay, I totally understand. I don't want to waste your time. I really like you all, but that is literally my minimum. I would be stressed out if I accepted the job at that rate. So I'm not the right fit for you. You're not going to change their mind. If they share with you right in the moment that that's what they can afford to pay, and all of a sudden you go, okay, I'll take that, they're not going to buy it. That's why I want you to go in with your walkaway rate and your ideal. And you can say it's not just about money. The reason I have that range is there's other things that go into factor, like opportunity, things I'll be working on, location, right? But that's why there's a range. It's very simple to explain. But if they come back and say, gosh, our highest is below your lowest, then you respectfully decline. And I'll tell you why, folks, because you're not going to change their mind, but boy, did you leave an impression. You were self-respected enough to know your range and be honest with them. I can't tell you how many times I've seen companies then go interview people and say, the people we really want, we can't get at this price point. We can raise our rate. So you say to them, I'm so sorry. I really need this as my minimum. If you change your mind and if you can come up in price at some point, will you message me? Because I would love to interview for this job. I would absolutely love to work for you all. It's just, this is my minimum. And so what happens is they go back and they think about it. Now they come up with the money and you didn't have to sell them on it. Now, if you give them the range and they go, yeah, we're in that range. Awesome. Start interviewing. When you get the offer, if you don't feel the offer is enough, you use the job matching matrix, which I've taught you here. And again, you can access over at Work It Daily with a 7-day free trial. And you build the matrix and you go to them and say, I absolutely am honored. I'm very excited to work for you. I was hoping you could come up to X. Let me explain why. Let me show you why. Let me provide the evidence. And it would really mean a lot to me if you would find your way to do that. And again, they'll either say yes, no, or not now, but soon, right? And then you just work through that together. Folks, people get way too uptight about salary negotiation. My advice is never salary negotiate alone. Work with trained professionals. Let us coach you on your situation to make sure that you're doing the right things and getting the right results. Yeah. All right, here I am, back. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. Advice on cold DMing someone who graduated from the same school who is in your bucket list corp. Oh, I love this question. All right, what would I do if somebody that went to the same school as me is working at a company that I dream of working for? Okay, so first of all, before I just randomly message them, I would sit down and I would think about two very key important pieces of information. First of all, why is this company on my bucket list? What do they do that I respect and admire? Not that I heard they're a great place to work, but what is it about their business model, their product, their services, their customers? What is it that lights me up about them? And secondly, where did I learn that? Because you don't just wake up loving a company. Something has to happen in your life to teach you that what they're doing is awesome. And you need to sit back and really think about that. Okay. Now, once you have those two vital pieces of information, you're ready to reach out to one of your fellow alumni. And so you'd message them and say, hey, I see we both went to XYZ, go Owls or whatever it is. All right. You'd lead with that one sentence. See, we both went to XYZ and, shout out to whatever your mascot was. Okay. Then you say, I'm a huge fan of your company. I think what they do, insert the reason why, is amazing. And I learned that when insert the story about where you learned that. Do you see what I'm saying? Because what you're doing in that moment, anyone can say, I think your company is amazing. Doesn't mean much. But when I say, here's why I think your company is amazing, and here's how I learned it was amazing, there's no way you made that up. That's hyper personalized. And that gives that person the confidence that you get it and that you are one of them and that it is worth having a conversation with you. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes? Like, for example, if I wanted to work at Apple and someone that I went to school with is there, I would ask them to connect and I would say, hey, Jack, right? I see we both went to Tufts. Go Jumbos, right? I'm a huge fan of Apple because I think what they're doing when it comes to aesthetics and usability is incredible. I remember the first time I moved over to an Apple phone and understood just how intuitive it was and how much easier it made my life and my ability to do my work. Can we connect? I'd love to have a conversation. See what happened there? Now I'm really bonding with Jack, not just because we went to the same school, but because I understand that business and why they're in business and why it matters. That is called intrinsic motivation. That is you sharing your intrinsic motivation. This is how you get people to network and connect with you. Hopefully that made sense to everyone. Yeah. Should you wait to negotiate the salary during the interview or once the job offer is received? You always negotiate after a job offer is received. You have no right to negotiate a salary in an interview. Absolutely not. You're going to negotiate once you've been given an offer. Yeah. They've made the offer. Now you sit in the driver's seat. Now it's time to discuss. Yeah. Wonderful. I'm so glad this is helping. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to my live. I go live Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. My goal is to help you earn more, stress less, and love your work. If you would like to work with me and my team, all we ask you to do is give us a little of your time. And that means we give you a 7-day free trial. You commit your time for 7 days, right? And if you like it, you stay with us. If you don't, you cancel. And no cost to you. Yeah, so head on over to Work It Daily. We would absolutely love to work with you, coach you in just 15 minutes a day. Yep. Yeah. Awesome. Let's see. Danielle says, a staffing agency told me I need to move to a certain city before they'll place me moving without a job. Yeah, they can't place you unless you live there. They're not allowed because they're placing you, and that's a requirement by the employer. So staffing agencies are going to require you to live in the city in order to place you on assignment. Oh, I love this question. Here we go. Oh, drum roll. I turned down a job and I regret it. What can I do? I love it. Happens, folks. We turn down a job and then we're like, what was I thinking? There is nothing wrong with going back to the employer and saying I blew it. I think that's one of the best things that you can do. So you go back and say, I'm reaching out because I turned down the job with you and I so regret it. I really would love the chance to work for you. Is there any chance you'd reconsider me? I have a new appreciation and, again, regret it. You got to just own it. It's called a moment of accountability. You own it. There's nothing wrong with that. That makes the employer, don't think they're going to be like, ha, ha, ha. No, they wanted you at one point. So now you really want to work for them even more so. That's a great thing. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, if I'm on payroll after layoff, do I put an end date on the resume? Love this question. Okay, folks, a lot of people, unfortunately, are getting laid off right now and are being given some severance in the form of staying on the payroll. So maybe they say, all right, we laid you off, but we're going to pay you through December, right? We're going to give you a couple of months. What do you put on your LinkedIn and your resume? Well, you're technically paid by the employer through that date. It is okay to leave those dates on there. Here's the problem, though. If you sit there and say that you're still actively working there and they call you up for an interview and you explain you've been laid off, now it feels a little weird, right? So you are better off being honest right out of the gate. So you can leave on there and put like present, but when they call you and they say, why are you leaving the job? You can say, actually, I'm part of a reduction in force. There's 100 of us that are all ending in the end of December and I am one of them. See how that works? You're not lying. You're being honest. You're still actively being paid by them, but you do want to be really upfront when they ask why you're leaving the job and let them know you are part of a reduction in force. Tell them how many people were impacted and let them know your technical end date is this date. That's it. Nice and simple. Oh, yeah, this is a great question. All right. We're going to have a little talk with all my layoff victims. I don't even want to use that word. I hate that word victim. I don't think any of you should be a victim. victim mentality is the worst thing that you can do for yourself. If you have been laid off, if you've been part of a reduction in force, understand that we all in recruiting and HR know that's not your fault. Nobody thinks that there's something wrong with you. Nobody thinks that you're subpar. A company has to make a business decision about what parts of the business they want to continue to run and staff and what parts of the business they can cut back on. That is not an indication of your performance. So when you get laid off, do not take it personally. Of course, it feels personal. I'm not saying that to stop the feelings, but what I need you to really understand is that those thoughts aren't truths, right? Those things that you're feeling, I got laid off, I must be less than, this is terrible. Those aren't real. Those aren't facts. The facts are the company made a business decision. It had to cut staff and you were one of a bunch of people. That's it. Okay. Nobody out there, especially hiring managers, is thinking there's something wrong with you until you start thinking that. Until you start thinking that and projecting it. And then we go, well, wait, why are you giving off that vibe? Why are you acting like there's something wrong because you got laid off? Okay, well, now I should doubt you too. This is where most people make the mistake. They go into the interview all defensive because they got laid off because they think they're being judged. You're not being judged until you act that way. Now you're being judged on the way you're acting. So I need you to go in, and when they say why you leave your job or what happened, you can say, great question. My company had a reduction in force. They laid off 40 people. I was one of them. That's it. That's all there is to it. Okay. Right. And then what you can say, if you really want to even elevate it and be more positive, is to say, what I learned from this is you can lose your job at any time. And now I'm back in the swing of things and focused really hard on building up my interviewing skills and finding that new opportunity. And I'm really glad I'm here with you today. Right. Bring it back. Take control, take ownership of the situation. But I will tell you, the moment you decide that people are going to judge you on a layoff, you've now made that a reality. They're not judging you until you do that. Now, here's what I would say, though. If you've been laid off, folks, please don't think that you've got 4 months to hang out before you look for work. Because there is the reality that the longer somebody stays employed, the more questions people have on why you haven't gotten a job. So you don't take 6 months off to recover and then wonder why nobody wants to hire you. If you've been laid off, hold on, folks. I don't know what's happening to my live. See if I can get it back. Give it a minute here for my other folks. Is that making sense to everybody? There we go. Yeah. So just to recap, for those of you that didn't see that, when you've been laid off, stop taking it personally. Stop judging yourself and stop assuming others will judge you, because the moment you make those the facts in your head, you're now giving off a vibe that's going to make people question you. You did nothing wrong. The company made a decision. When you get asked why you left, you say the company had a reduction in force. They laid off X number of people. I was one of them. That's it. Okay. Just the facts, no emotion. Okay. Make sure. Secondly, I want you to look for work as quickly as possible. It is taking a lot longer to find a job right now. The sooner you dive in, the better. And the longer you stay unemployed, the harder it is to get a job later on. That's unfortunate, but true, folks. That's when the stigma kicks in, because they're like, fine, you got laid off. You should be able to find a job within 6 months. Most people assume absolutely possible for you to find a job within 6 months. Once you get over 6 months, they start to wonder, why are you struggling to get a job? So you got to be really mindful of that. Yeah. Awesome. My gosh, so many questions here. I've got a few more minutes here before I have to go. What advice do you have for people with ADHD people to prepare for an interview? Oh, Daniel, that's a really great question. Okay. So for people that have ADHD, I know that interviews can be super stressful. It can be hard to focus. It can be hard to concentrate. The best thing that I can offer you is to prepare for interviews by understanding what's going to happen. So, for example, in Work It Daily, our interview prep explains what's going to happen before the interview and why they're doing that, what happens during the interview, why they're doing that, and what happens after the interview and why they're doing that. The more education you can have around that, the better. And the more you can think about what questions you would be asked and why, which is a big part of what we do inside Work It Daily, you can then just go into the interview and be more relaxed and just answer the best you can. Okay. Now, the second thing is there's absolutely nothing wrong with saying in an interview, I've got a lot of nerves because I'm excited. So if I'm not 100%, please understand I'm just really trying to give you what you need. Okay? Because again, your anxiety is going to come up a little. A great way to reduce that anxiety is to be proactive and let them know. We understand that. Okay? We know. And if you say that, then we're going to be like, okay, yeah, they're answering these questions right, but hey, it's probably that they're stressed a little. We'll give them a break. So, prepare as much as you can, use interview prep as much as you can. But then when you go in, manage their expectations and just let them know, hey, I'm feeling a little stressed out, a little worried. I just want to make a great impression on you. So if my answer is 100%, please forgive me. Yeah. Does that make sense? Awesome. All right. In the same boat, reduction in force, last day January 31st, need to wait for bonus severance. Should I start looking? Oh, great question. Folks, if you have been given bonus or severance and they're saying you can't, if you leave the job early, let's say they're like, okay, your job's gone in 90 days, 3 months. All right. But we're going to give you a staying bonus. So we're going to give you more money if you stay those 90 days. Okay. That's great. A lot of people will come to me and say, so when do I start looking for work? The answer is right now. Right now. Because it is highly unlikely you're going to find a job in 2 weeks. It's highly unlikely you're going to find a job in a month. Right now, start to finish, hiring is taking about 13 weeks. You look right now. Now, let's say you get the job and there's 6 weeks before you get your bonus. You go to this firm and say, I'm officially done. I need to wait to get my bonus. Can you let me start February 1st, right? If it's the end of January 31st and February 1st. If not, would you be able to pay me the bonus differential? Most companies are going to say, no, we'll take you February 1st, not a problem. But the truth is, it's going to take you a while to get the job. So that's probably not even going to be a concern. So waiting to look for work is actually the worst thing you can do. You're going to end up with a gap of employment. Whereas if you start right now, you'll probably find a job just in time. And if you find a job sooner, you can negotiate with them to either pay the bonus differential if they want you sooner, or they'll just wait for you. Totally okay. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I love this. Can I just share that? I want to shout out to Mick Singleton. Your content helped me get my current job. Been here almost 5 years and looking to change something more fulfilling. How can I increase the chances of an interview without seeming overbearing? Yeah, that's great. Yeah, folks, the secret is I want you to think about interviewing is what they're looking for in the interview is the evidence you can do the job the way they need you to do the job. They need the facts. They need the evidence. Think about anytime you're buying something really expensive. It's scary, isn't it? Like buying a home, buying a car. These are big, expensive purchases. And what we don't want is buyer's remorse. We don't want to get into the house and be disappointed or find things are broken. Okay. We don't want to buy the car and find out it's a lemon. So what do? We do our homework. We do our due diligence. We ask other people, well, what should I ask? How do I make sure I'm doing the right thing? Right. And we look for the people that give us the most honest answers. We try to see, like, is this person lying to this? Or, right? It's no different in interviews. They're just trying to figure out if you really are who you say you are. And so if you can go in and be sincere and be calm and try to give them as much actual evidence and proof that you can do the job based on the way they need it, the better. It's when you start to hype yourself, you start to overshare, you start to say that you're the Jack or Jill of all trades. Nobody believes it. That's when I talk about this all the time. That's when you're saying, I'm a BMW for the price of a Honda. Nobody trusts that. So if you want to get a job in this market, you need to be mindful that they're really kicking the tires and looking under the hood, right? They're doing the home inspection. And you need to be patient and you need to be able to give them as much evidence as possible to make that decision so that they feel comfortable in hiring you. That's what you're doing right now. Awesome. You guys are great. How many back channeling messages in a conversation before asking for an introduction? That's a really interesting question. So back channeling is a form of connecting, and it's very similar to if you were at an actual networking event. So I think when you go back and think about conversations, some conversations you hit it off with people so fast, you could just tell by the vibe and the energy that you could ask them for something and they'd help you out. Other people, the vibe and energy isn't there and it takes you a little bit longer. I think it's no different when you're back channeling on platforms like LinkedIn. If somebody's being super helpful and responding really quickly, they're probably going to be okay with helping you out right away. If people are a little bit more measured, then you're spending more time building and getting to know them. And I would say that it really greatly helps before you ask for something is if you can have an actual conversation with them. Most people aren't just going to blindly help you out. if they haven't talked to you in some way. So you are ultimately trying to figure out how to talk to them and learn about them and their needs and what they're doing in their career as a way to get to know each other better. That's really where you're going to get the best bang for your buck and where it's going to be okay to ask someone. If you don't get those live conversations, then obviously more back and forth by email is going to be required in order to make that connection. But I think you have to gauge it on a case-by-case basis and really just get a vibe as to whether or not that person's engaging with you enough that it feels comfortable enough to ask. Awesome. Oh, amazing. Oh, good. I'm so glad. It sounds like some folks here have had some good luck with our interview tips. Yeah, that's a great one. What someone in back channel responds with quickly but says they're super busy. Okay, here's the thing. If somebody responds to you, you're back channeling, okay? Somebody responds to you and says, "Hey, I got your message. Don't want to be disrespectful. Wanted to respond to you, but quite frankly, I'm super busy right now with the end of the year. Could we come back at another time?" You absolutely respond back and say, "Yes, I am so grateful that you responded. That meant the world to me. Completely respect your time crunch. If it's okay with you, I'm going to mark my calendar. I'm going to check back with you in January. I'm going to check back with you in 2 months." Okay. And then you mark your calendar and in 2 months you go back. And I guarantee you that person will help you. You are grateful for their response. You were respectful of their time. And then 2 months later, you followed through on what you said you were going to do. That's the sign of a really good quality person. Right. By the way, a lot of people in back channeling, especially high level executives, do this intentionally. So this is the technique that, again, high level executives will do to see if you really are who you say you are. So you reach out to them, you say, "Hey, could we meet? Could I interview you? Whatever." And they go, "You know what? I'm too busy right now. I probably have more time in 2 months. Check back with me in 2 months." They do that on purpose because they know 95% of the time that people won't do it. The 5% that check back says a lot about you, respectful of the time and followed through. Yeah. Yeah. It's a very common technique that executives do to weed out people that aren't really serious. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. I only hear back from HR roles after I took an HR temp role to avoid a gap. What to do? Okay. Folks, here's the problem with your resume. Your resume is a historical document of the work that you've done, which means when people are looking for you, they're only looking for you based on what you've done, not what you want to do. So if you're looking to make a career change right now, your resume is not your friend, it's your enemy. And I would argue the same thing for your LinkedIn profile because, again, those are historical data. They don't serve you. So you're not going to get people reaching out to you for jobs that aren't already on your resume. So, for example, if you took an HR temp job and that's the most recent job, the only jobs you're going to get contacted about are HR temp jobs. So what you have to do is change the narrative and change your strategy, tools, and tactics. These are the 3 things everybody needs in job search, but they're different depending on what you're trying to make happen. If you're looking to pivot jobs, change careers, change industries, your resume is not your friend, it is your foe. You instead have to lead with what's called your connection story. Your connection story is why you want to get into the work that you want to do. Why do you want to do the work that's not on your resume? It's not on your LinkedIn profile. And what is the intrinsic motivation, which is a fancy term for what is driving you to get up out of bed and do this work and exceed expectations? Because they have to hear that and understand it. You don't have the experience. Why would they bother to train you? They're not going to bother to train you. They're not going to bother to give a chance on you if you can't give them some really strong motivation that says, this person is going to figure it out. This person is worth the investment. So now, once you've got that, you've got to find out who you need to tell that story to, and you've got to get in front of them. That's back channeling. So we help every single day people inside Work It Daily pivot careers, but we have to teach them how to back channel using their connection story to showcase their intrinsic motivation and to get people interested in considering them. People get hired all the time that don't have the exact skill set. They get hired because they proved that they had the personality and the motivation to do the job, and the rest could be taught. But that's not going to happen from a resume ever. So applying online, not going to work for you, right? You've got to back channel. You've got to proactively share your story and connect. And that is a very specific sequence. You can learn all of that on how to do that over at Work It Daily. All right. Here's the thing, folks. I got to go do a live session inside my private platform. I go live 5 times a week. All right. Tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, there's doing a content class. I am teaching people how to create content for LinkedIn so that you can be found by recruiters. Tomorrow at 12 noon, Wednesdays. Wednesdays at 3 p.m., I do my job search masterclass. I answer any and all of your questions on best and latest job search techniques. Thursday, I do an interview class. exclusively around how to nail interviews, and then at noon. And then Thursday at 3, I do a LinkedIn and personal branding class to teach you how to optimize your LinkedIn profile and brand yourself on LinkedIn. These are all live classes that I record. You can attend them live and get your questions answered, or you can watch them at a later date. This is just one of the things that you get access to when you try Work It Daily. You also get access to my exclusive course, the Job Search Accountability course, video-based course to teach you every aspect of job search, resume, LinkedIn, cover letter, interview prep, salary negotiation, all of it. You also get access to my brand mastery course, how to brand yourself and attract recruiters and employers to you. All of that video-based, simple and easy to do. And you're part of a supportive community. Only thing you need to invest in today is your time, because you get a 7-day free trial. So if this made sense to you today and you liked this session, go grab a free 7-day trial to Work It Daily, workitdaily.com. You come to my 4 live sessions this week, 2 on Wednesday, 2 on Thursday. You grab it and see what you think. And if you love it and you're like, oh my gosh, she's making me feel so much better, I feel so much less stressed, I can do this, you stay. If you don't, you cancel, right? All I'm looking for you to do right now is to give me a chance with your time. I'm looking to invest and believe in yourself. People invest in themselves, believe in themselves. I need you to invest 15 minutes a day. I need you to invest a little time to see that you can do this. You can earn more. You can stress less. You can love your work. But you need to give me a chance to teach it to you. Okay? All right. I will be back live. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time today. I loved being live with all of you, and I will see you really soon, okay? And I hope to see a whole bunch of you inside Work It Daily, because we really want to help you. All right. Bye, everyone. Take care.